Good morning. Good morning, everyone. कैसे हो? Hi, Prajakta, Achal, Abhishek, Birendra, Vishwanath Banik, Darshana, Dhairesh, Dipalo Khajra, welcome, Gauri, Kamlesh Mehta, Kiran, Makran Desai, Neeraj Mittal, Piyush Gandhi, welcome, Pramod, Prashant, Priya, Pushpanjali, Rahul, Ritesh, Samir, Supir. All right, good. Chalo, let's begin. Who is going to remind me? Kya tha? What did we decide yesterday? We had a polling question and we decided on the topic for today. Yaad hai? Who is going to write it in the chat box? Let's see. Who remembers? Who remembers what we decided to discuss today? Write it in the chat box. Hmm? याद है कि भूल गए? Mhm. Converting small ticket to big ticket was done yesterday. Not this one, Nikhil. What did we discuss? We decided we how to have market is risky conversation. Correct. Market is risky conversation. Okay, just give me a second. Market is risky conversation. Okay, so उसके बारे में बात करना है आज. Okay, let me just start. Okay, देखो बहुत समय होता है when you go for a meeting, the client says कि अभी मुझे investments नहीं करना है, the markets are risky. So today we are going to discuss ki how to have a conversation when somebody says the market is risky. ठीक है? देखिए, let us be honest. And how many times ऐसा होता है कि client ने बोला कि markets are risky and in your mind immediately you move to a defensive mode. Defensive mode पे चले जाते हैं आप कि करना क्या है. How many times it happens? Write it in the chat box. होता है ना कि अभी कैसे मैं उनको समझाऊं कि रिस्की है नहीं. हाँ, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम होता है कि क्लाइंट ने बोला है एंड आई मूव टू ए डिफेंसिव मोड. ओके, एंड दिस इज एक्चुअली क्वाइट नॉर्मल. दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली नॉर्मल टू थिंक इन दिस मैनर. एंड आपके मन में क्या क्या सवाल आता है का? हाउ डू आई एक्सप्लेन दिस सिचुएशन? व्हाट एग्जांपल शुड आई गिव? विच चार्ट शुड आई शो हिम टू कन्विंस हिम? कौन सा दिखाऊं मैं उनको? एंड before you realized it, you start talking. How many times you immediately jump into talking when somebody says market is risky? आपके मन में डिफेंस मोड ऑन हो जाता है कि कैसे मैं उनको समझाऊं कि बॉस मार्केट तो रिस्की है ही नहीं. द मोमेंट यू स्टार्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग when a client says markets are risky, you have already lost control of the conversation. Moment you start speaking कि markets, moment somebody says markets are risky and you start talking, you have already lost the conversation. You have lost control of the conversation. Because that question, that sentence is not a question. It is not an objection. It is not even about market. It's a signal. It's a signal which says, I don't feel safe right now. It is a signal from the client which is saying, I don't feel safe right now. And most of us respond by trying to prove they are right instead of making the client feel safe. देखो, clients don't panic because markets move. They panic because they don't know what will happen to them if the markets move. Does it make sense? Clients don't panic because markets move. They panic. They panic because they don't know what will happen to them if the markets move. Will there be loss of money? Will there be loss of sleep? Will there be loss of confidence? Will there be loss of face in front of family? And that fear never goes away with data. Huh? It goes away with something else. And wo kya something else is what we are going to discuss today. Today's session is not about how to argue with clients. It is about how to slow down the conversation in the room. Because only those advisors who stays calm when fear enters into a conversation in the room, then you become the leader in that conversation. The advisors who rush to convince have already lost the voice. Okay. Tell me in the chat box. एक सवाल कर रहा हूं. When a client says markets are risky, what do you do currently? Do you try to correct him or understand him? Write it in the chat box. फिलहाल आप क्या करते हो? Do you try to correct him or understand him? Everyone, write in the chat box. When somebody says the markets are risky, do you try to correct him or do you try to understand him? Okay. 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 आपका ये मीटिंग के बाद if the market falls if the market falls further if the market falls further tomorrow, would your client feel safer calling you or avoiding you? Okay. Thank you, Prashant, Samir. Thanks for your response. If the market falls further, will the clients feel safer calling you or they will be avoiding you? And that's what today's session is all about. That's what today's session is all about. Okay, just give me a second. I just, okay. So give me a few seconds. I'm going to share my presentation deck and we are going to start. Got it. Just, I'll share my deck, okay? Okay. The slide decks are visible, everyone? The slide deck is visible? Okay, ठीक है. Okay, all right. So how do I break that silence and that fear and all of that when things are not going the right way? Okay. Volatility isn't the risk. When markets contract, naturally, advisors' instinct is to wait for clarity. Okay. जब मार्केट वोलेटाइल होता है ना, हम लोग क्या करते हैं ना, तुरंत पहला कुछ दिन हम लोग क्लाइंट्स को फोन नहीं करते हैं. जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकंड. गिव मी अ सेकंड प्लीज. गिव मी 1 second प्लीज. देखो, yeah, sorry. I will be speaking to you today. That slide deck is not ready yet. The slide deck is not ready yet. Okay. So if you want, you can definitely take down your notes and we can go through it together. Okay. देखो, uh, just a second. I have asked for that slide deck. If it comes on time, I'm going to show it to you as well. But before that, let me talk to you about what it has to be done in during this situation. देखो, अगर कोई बोलता है markets are risky, the objective in the room should be to reduce the fear without arguing, defending, or selling anything new. Okay. So when a client says markets are risky, he's not talking about markets. He's not talking about those regrets and loss and so on. There is a four-step process that you can use to respond to a situation like this. There is a four-step process. Okay. Let me give you what are the steps to go through. Okay. The first step is to agree first. You can write down in your notebook. The first step is to agree first. Okay. Now, what do I mean by agree first? Don't resist. The first thing to say is you're right. Markets are definitely risky. Then you give a pause. And why does this matter? Because when you agree with anyone, it will immediately lower the resistance. The client will stop preparing any kind of counter argument. And you definitely sound honest and not defensive. Never give a response that not really, long term is safe, historically markets give great returns. All of these things triggers a debate. So step number one is to agree. Step number two, separate risk from uncertainty. Separate the risk from uncertainty. देखो, but you can add one sentence is that, but risk and uncertainty are not the same thing. Risk and uncertainty are not the same thing. Risk is when we don't understand what can go wrong. Risk is when we don't understand what can go wrong. And uncertainty is when outcomes move up and down, but the long term plan is intact. Risk is when we don't understand what can go wrong. Uncertainty is when outcomes move up and down, but the plan is intact. Why does this sentences work? Because you don't deny the fear. You are basically redefining in a way that feels different, and you will regain authority in the room without pushing. Step number three, shift the focus from markets to the plan, the long-term plan. Shift the focus. Which part worries you more right now? Which part worries you more right now? This daily ups and downs, or whether your goal will be impacted? Which part worries you more right now? This daily ups and downs, or whether your goal will be impacted? Next step, stop talking. Definitely stop talking. This does two things. First, it pulls the client out of any kind of headline messaging, newspaper headlines, and brings the discussion back into the purpose of the investments. Most of the clients, 90% of the clients will say goal. Moment they say goal, you're back in control. Step number four, try to contain the risk, don't remove it. Say this clearly, we can't remove market risk. as Samir, you were saying, say it very clearly. We cannot remove market risk, but we can contain it so it doesn't disturb your life. It doesn't worry you in your life. And then you can give them one option, not too many options. Okay. You can break it up into safety, growth, flexibility. Do not go too deeper. Okay. Unless they ask for it. What are the things you should definitely not say? जो बोलना ही बोलना नहीं है. Markets always recover. ये बोलना नहीं है आपको. Okay. Markets will, sorry, uh, markets will recover. ये नहीं बोलना है. This is the best time to invest. नहीं बोलना है. If you wait further, you will miss out. नहीं बोलना है. And एक और शब्द है, which is trust me. हम लोग बहुत easily ये word को बोल देते हैं. Trust me. When I'm saying trust me, actually these things make fear far more worse. Okay. A good conversation doesn't end with saying that, all right, let's go out and invest. It actually, those are the good conversation which actually feel the client says, I feel safer right now. Okay. Clients don't want you to reduce the risk or remove the risk. Okay. They are only looking to get guidance from you so that they can have a peaceful sleep every day. That is what they're looking for. Okay. All the best, everyone. So what I'm going to do right now is give you the polling question for next Monday. Give me a second. Yes. Here is the polling question. Go ahead and answer the polling question, all of you. And we will select the topic for Monday. Multiple, I think, answers select कर सकते हैं. Getting first meetings with HNIs, being taken seriously by wealthy prospects, increasing HNI ticket size, shortening long HNI decision cycles, and converting referrals into HNI clients. I would request 100% of you to go out and answer the polling question. You have the last 30 seconds. Last 20 seconds. 15 seconds. All right. So let me share with you the outcome of the polling question. And no surprises. This is it. So we are going to cover this one. How to getting first meetings with HNIs. All right. So all the best, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you